Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. At this point, it's no secret that the new Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is filled with bugs, glitches, and everything in between. Some have been funny, some have led to some crazy speedruns, and others, unfortunately, aren't as nice. In this video, I want to share my experience in a recent stream where I came across a really stupid bug, and how I tried my absolute hardest to overcome it and try to get the game back on track. And hopefully this also serves as a PSA so none of you end up running into it as well. I've never really made a video like this before, so if you do enjoy it, a like is extra appreciated today. And with all of that said, let's see just how much I broke this game. So I was casually making good progress through the game. I vented, fixed Freddy, got the party pass, went to Gator Golf, things were looking good. It wasn't until I went back to the main entrance area that things went sideways. For whatever reason, I was feeling nostalgic for the start of the game and wanted to revisit the security office that Vanessa takes you to earlier when you first encounter Vanny. I want to go back to the security office because we were there, but we had to bail because of stupid...
Where am I? You think you're real clever.
Did we just warp back like 4 hours? Yep, we did just warp back. For reasons unknown, despite me already experiencing this segment of the game, I guess the trigger for it was still there. Before this, I was around the 4 AM mark in the game's progression, and now it seems like we were taken back quite a bit. The catch though is that this time in here I was still inside the Freddy suit and did keep a bunch of progress I had made, including items as well as higher security clearance. So instead of having to unscrew the vent to escape this room, I was able to just waltz on out through the main door. It turned out later that doing this might have been a massive mistake that broke the game even more, but more on that later. Now, at the time, I thought this was really cool, basically doing a reverse sequence break of sorts. Surely nothing else could go wrong, right? Well anyways, first I was curious to see what happens here when Vanny chases me while still inside the Freddy suit. So after Vanny touched me, I was forced out of the Freddy suit, but surprisingly, Vanny didn't just outright kill me. In fact, Vanny didn't even start chasing me at first, as it seemed she actually got stuck on Freddy here. Eventually though, she did break on through, and then, despite us being long gone from the office, she still waved through the window before finally chasing us. Pretty weird. After this, I also discovered that I was no longer allowed to hop back into Freddy, and at this point, I knew something was seriously off. Anyways, I went to go progress through the game, and then after dying on foot, I went back with the Freddy suit, and now I realized that I wasn't actually able to leave the suit at all. And this was certainly a problem since if the battery runs out while you're inside, you instantly get a game over. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't just load a previous save or something. Well, it turns out that this security office segment actually conveniently has an autosave here, and I was a pea-brain and overwrote my only unique save shortly after this. So reloading any of my other saves would have also really set me back in the game quite a bit. So yeah, let this be a lesson, always make new saves. Anyways, back to the game. For a while, things were looking okay again. I was able to go to the daycare theater, head on downstairs, and then grab the mazer-size control keycard that I needed to progress. Out of curiosity, I once again went back to the security office room, and lo and behold, again, the cutscene trigger activated, and I had to sit through it once more. Now, I don't want to dig on the devs too much, and I've defended a lot with this game, but this seriously is just such a large oversight. I can't believe this is even possible in a room that's so easy to access. Anyways, time to make more progress with the game, right? Well, after getting back to the atrium, things weren't looking good. It turns out that with the game now thinking that it's the 2 AM segment of the story again, all of the barriers reappeared as they do at 2 AM. So basically, I was cut off from the mazer-size segment I needed to get to that's on the 3rd floor. And furthermore, Freddy is back in the Roxy Raceway section here as he appears at 2 AM. However, this time, I can't interact with him or start the regular cutscene that appears here, as I assume there is probably some sort of logic bug with the game. Not to mention, Freddy is already spawned in the map in a fixed up state, which I'm sure confuses the game even more. Hell, later on I was even able to have both of them in the same area. Anyways, for most players that don't know some of the exploits in this game, this would essentially be a soft lock, as you can't go up to the 3rd floor like you need to, and you can't progress the story back at the 2 AM segment even if you wanted to, since the Freddy interaction here won't load. Thankfully for me though, I am familiar with some speedrun skips in this game, so it was now time to see if I could get the game back on track. Well, I guess not before getting another game over and then loading back into the security office cutscene again, but this time without anything actually displaying on screen. Can't even get scared if I don't see the jump scare. Now this is a good time to remind you all that this is a $40 game. After all of this, after jumping over the railing here, I was able to bypass the barricades and head on down to the Phaser Blast entrance. Here, since I already used my party pass on the Gator Golf earlier, I had to perform another speedrun trick to bypass the staff bot by hopping up here to deload the wall over here to hop on through. After capturing the areas and completing the laser tag game, I was seemingly able to proceed, and now I actually had the camera and blaster in my possession, something you can't normally do. And doing the laser tag segment here also progressed the time back to 4:15 AM. Was I really back on track to a normal playthrough now? I did get stuck at the elevator here since I needed a party pass to bypass this bot, but thankfully at this point I was able to call Freddy again and hop on into him, and again, thankfully I know some more exploits in this game, so I was able to exit Freddy in just a way that let me get by this idiot. Finally, I was able to go back to the mazer size area and start the puzzle here. Even though the monitor here wasn't working like it's supposed to, which made this puzzle even more awful than it already is, after some time I managed to brute force my way through it. It was also around this point that I realized I was no longer able to save again, as all of the save points just featured a nice old error message. I don't really have a clue as to why this happened, but some of my viewers were speculating that maybe this happened since I obtained both the blaster and camera, and this made the game think I was at the end of the game or something where you can't save. Anyways, we were done the puzzle here, so I pressed on through the vent. This puzzle really sucks, by the way. Then back at the Gator Golf area, again I was feeling good as it finally seemed we were making progress. This feeling though was instantly crushed as once again the game broke. Now normally you just simply hop onto this launcher thing and shoot these 2 targets to activate the ride to progress, but no matter what angle I hit them at or how much or fast I shot them, the game just wouldn't progress. Once again, for most people like 7-year-old Timmy, this would be a game-ending bug. On the other hand though, the jankiness of this game didn't let this run end just yet, as I was able to quite easily just jump past this barricade and get on down to start the Monty cutscene as normal. It really does seem that these glitches equally both give and take away. Anyways, at this point, I can't say I noticed anything more that was wrong. I just simply got Monty'd, and unfortunately, since I couldn't save basically at all up until this point, this sent me all the way back to the security office. Now this might have certainly been a good solution to fixing the game, but without saving, I really didn't want to have to risk doing all of the Phaser Blast stuff, and especially the maze thing again every time I died, so I needed to find another solution. And hey, this was basically turning into a Pokemon game of glitches. I might as well try to catch them all at this point. Many in my chat thought that all hope was lost, but until I exhausted all options, I was determined to get the game back on track. Another glitch that popped up here was that the background music in the atrium was being overlapped at least like 4 times, resulting in a very pleasant sound. I guess that's another glitch we can check off the list. The next plan my chat suggested was to go through a door in Roxy's Raceway, but it turns out here that I still needed to get Monty's claws or Chica's voice box, and although I probably could have just glitched through this door using Freddy to deload the area, for me that was a bit too much cheating as my goal was to get back to a normal playthrough. So although using glitches like in the Phaser Blast area I thought was okay to get back to where I was before, using glitches to pass where I got legitimately just didn't feel right and was going to be a last resort. So since decommissioning Monty didn't work out for me the first time, the last plan I could think of to try and fix the game was to try and decommission Chica instead. So after getting the bowling ticket and redoing the laser tag segment again, I went up to Bonnie's Bowling Alleys, got the Monty mystery mix I needed, and then went on down to the loading docks area. things were once again starting to look up, but as you can expect by now, surely something will go wrong, and it did. For whatever reason, after getting into this office near the loading docks, the game would just not let me operate the pizza bot here as I needed. And not only this, but the game actually locks you into this room for this segment. So I couldn't progress, couldn't save, and now couldn't leave either. This time, this truly was a soft lock that I couldn't just fandangle my way out of. And unfortunately, all of my ideas on how to get the game back on track from this point were spent. Some of my viewers suggested that perhaps the reason I couldn't save was since I exited the security room through the door and not through the vent as intended, and this may be partly the case, as even when I did exit through the door, it did let me save after. But this time, after exiting through the vents and heading to the atrium, I don't know if it was good luck or if I took the correct sequence the game wanted me to, but finally I was able to save again. Although there were still buggy things like not being able to progress the game normally with Freddy here, this time I actually was able to operate the pizza bot, and it was seeming like there was hope at last. I was streaming for over 5 hours straight at this point, so my brain was basically shot. But with the ability to at least save, since the other problems seem to be okay now, I'm confident that after brute forcing the game back to 415 via Phaser Blast, I'll finally be able to finish at least somewhat of a normal playthrough. Although I've generally defended much of the game's bugs, a simple thing like this that can completely throw the game out of whack definitely needs to be ironed out. Otherwise, it will ruin the experience for many players. And until that hopefully happens, I guess moral of the story here is always make backup saves. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my 3-minute speedrun video on this game if you haven't already. Subscribe to find your way back for future videos, and I will see you in a bit.